Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm Jeff Howe, joined by CJ Vogel. We're going to each leave you with one key to a Texas victory against Vanderbilt ahead of Saturday's game between the Longhorns and the Commodores at Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. I want to thank the first of our two sponsors for this edition of On Texas Football. That's our friends over at Von Lane. From Texas football Saturdays to NFL Sundays and everything in between, the fall is stacked, and Von Lane's the smart way to get there. Forget the TSA lines or fighting traffic on I-35. With Von Lane, you board in minutes at a luxury hotel terminal. Then it's 22 big first-class seats, each with Wi-Fi, outlets, onboard attendant bringing snacks, drinks, and yes, even beer and cocktails. You'll arrive relaxed and ready for kickoff, the concert, or family time. And with booking open through December, you can also lock in Thanksgiving and Christmas travel right now. Go to vonlane.com, use the code OTF25, that's OTF25, and save $20 on your first ride. Von Lane, it's elevated regional bus transportation. CJ, I'll let you go first. What's one thing you can leave the OTF family with ahead of the game tomorrow that would be a key to a Longhorn victory?
Yeah, for me, it's all about being in livable third downs, Jeff. And we've talked about this seemingly every single week. Texas right now, dead last amongst Power 4 teams when it comes to being in 3rd and 7 and shorter. What I mean by that is they see 3rd and 8 and longer more than anybody else in the country amongst the Power 4 teams. It's crazy right now that Texas is actually sitting right at 3-1 in conference play, right? 6-2 on the season when you are so desperate for yards on 3rd down. Well, Vanderbilt is going to be very efficient with their offense. They're one of the most efficient in the entire country. They're actually second right now in points per drive of any team in the country. What they do a great job of is converting on 3rd downs and making sure that they are in survivable 3rd and 4th down situations. What I mean by that, they win on 1st and 2nd. So you're going to see a lot of 3rd and shorts, a lot of 4th and opportunities. That's where Vanderbilt is able to sustain, and they're just like a cockroach, Jeff. Boy, do they not go down easily, and it's all led by their quarterback, Diego Pavia.
CJ, does the number 45 have any meaning to you at all? It probably shouldn't, but it should, because that's how many plays Vanderbilt ran on offense in a win over Missouri.
Wow.
So they don't need a ton of plays to get the job done. They did average 5.9, almost 6 yards of play against Missouri last week. But to your point, you look at their 3rd down efficiency. They just do a really good job of staying on schedule, staying ahead of the chains. And it would be a nice change of pace for Texas to get there. To your point, look, at this point, Texas cannot rely on the run game. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. But it's not like it's an aspect of this offense that Sark can go into a game. He hasn't shown that he's got the trust, the faith, the belief, what have you, in the offensive line. You've had bodies in and out at running back. You just can't rely on it. And if you don't have Arch Manning on Saturday, you don't have Arch's ability to extend the play, the ability he has with his legs to keep you alive. So, CJ, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it'll probably take the best game Sark has called all year far and away for them to stay on schedule. But I'm with you. They have got to find a way, maybe not even to stay on schedule, just to keep themselves out of 3rd and let's go ahead and get the punt team ready because we're not going to convert this.
Yeah, and that's what's the key for me. Of course, Vanderbilt has a good front 7. They're top 20 in tackles for loss, top 20 in sacks. Maybe a reduced or enhanced, I guess is the better word here, pitch count for CJ Baxter is a solution, right? It felt like in his limited opportunities against Mississippi State, there was some sort of rhythm there. Now, Texas is going to need an inside running threat. Of course, a downhill threat would be even more welcomed. But when you're Texas right now, you got to find ways to stay out of those 3rd and longs, Jeff. And that's exactly where Vanderbilt wants to put you. Knowing that this Texas offense struggles on its own, that's a place they cannot stub their toe in.
And CJ, this is my last contribution on the channel this week before kickoff. So my key to the game, I'm going to stick with it. I am team take the ball first if you win the toss. I want to get your take on this. I think about kind of my line of thinking going into the Ohio State game where I felt like Ryan Day had the edge because wasn't a ton of tape on Julian Sayin, so he could really come out and do whatever he wanted. And he took the route of, hey, let's insulate our quarterback. Don't ask him to go win the game. Like, we know how the Ohio State game played out. But if it's Matthew Caldwell, I think Sark has a similar advantage because there's not a lot of tape out there. He's got tape. You got to, if you want to go back and watch Troy or Gardner Webb film, which I'm sure the Vanderbilt staff has, you can do that. But in terms of how Matthew Caldwell fits into the framework of Sark's offense, your sample sizes are a blowout win over Sam Houston, one play in the Florida game, and those couple of snaps in an overtime possession against Mississippi State. So, CJ, I think if you can take the ball first, and if Sark uses that advantage to its fullest, this team might actually get to play with a lead against a Power 4 opponent in regulation. That would be a welcome sight.
Yeah, something that Texas hasn't seen a whole lot of this year. Jeff, I've mentioned the stat. They haven't scored a touchdown when leading against a Power 4 team the entire season. That's pretty remarkable, right? This will be opportunity number 6 for the Longhorns this weekend. Let's see if they can get that over the hump. But to your point, you do in your a little bit have an element of surprise up your sleeve. Now, does that change what Sarkisian will do with the offense? He told us earlier in the week he doesn't believe that the offense will change all too much when it comes to Arch Manning versus having Matthew Caldwell. Now, how much or how aggressive is he with a Matthew Caldwell? We thought maybe he would try to control the ground against Kansas State in 2023 with Malik Murphy, and instead he came out hucking. So I'm going to be sitting there saying, hey, I'm not surprised, if anything, for Matthew Caldwell if he's on the field. And to your point, Jeff, if you can provide your defense a cushion, because they haven't had many this year, boy, oh boy, would that be great to get that pass rush from the very get-go, pinning their ears back, ready to get after Diego Pavia.
Yeah, and CJ, it goes back to kind of my battle cry for this team is for Sark and PK, it should be a race to see how fast you can turn the game over to your pass rush. Because we saw against Oklahoma, when you were able to get a lead, even though the offense wasn't great that day, they managed to be efficient. And you can go back and look at some of that was Arch making plays. Some of that you did give yourself some winnable situations on third down. But once you got a lead and Oklahoma had to throw the football and became one-dimensional, it was much easier. It's much easier to stop anybody when they're one-dimensional. And CJ, this Vanderbilt run game is so unique. Their offense is so unique. If you can take that element away, force them to play left-handed and turn them into a one-dimensional offense because you actually have a lead. Diego Pavia is really talented, but whether it's Colin Simmons or Ethan Burke or Anthony Hill or Jelani McDonald, I really like the chess pieces Texas has on defense to match up with Vanderbilt if they get to a point where PK can really maximize those guys.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Look, we saw the weaponization of Anthony Hill really for the first time a week ago. Now, to your point, Jeff, if Texas is able to do that for 2.5, 3 quarters, shoot, at any moment at all, that is a win for Texas. And to your point, you're always going to have to be aware of Diego Pavia and his legs. But there's something about being able to pin back an Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, shoot a Brad Spencer, a Lance Jackson all at the same time. It's just such a handful and create such havoc for opposing offenses. That's something Texas hasn't had the luxury of playing with so far this year.
I'll reiterate another talking point, CJ, in closing. You got 3 home games left for sure, and we'll see what happens with the postseason. But for sure, you got 3 home games left. Those are probably going to be the last 3 games Anthony Hill plays at DKR. It would be really nice to see Zero really take off. Had a great game statistically against Mississippi State. Took that game over late in the game. It would be really nice to see him do that for what probably realistically is going to be the close to his Texas career.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, only so many opportunities left, Jeff, and that goes for a few other Longhorns too, right? Ethan Burke's one of them. Could probably mention Jelani McDonald as well, as he's kind of elevated his play into that conversation. Malik Muhammad too. So, and hey, if Texas has Michael Taff on the field or not, and for as many snaps as he will be there, well, I mean, just cherish those snaps because he's put them all out on the line, and this weekend's another opportunity to do exactly that.
No doubt. Let's talk about IP Vanish real quick, CJ, before we get out of here. Nothing kills game day like a blackout or a blocked live stream. IP Vanish VPN keeps your connection private so you can bypass restrictions and watch securely, even on public Wi-Fi. And there's more with IP Vanish Advanced. You also get a secure browser that blocks trackers, malware, and viruses. Plus, you get 1 terabyte of cloud storage to back up your files. That means your streaming stays private, your browsing is protected, and your files are always safe. Right now, On Texas Football listeners can save 83%. That's just a little over $2 a month for all-in-one protection. Go to ipvanish.com/ontexasfootball. That's ipvanish.com/ontexasfootball, or follow the link in the description of this episode. CJ, thank you for the knowledge and expertise. As always, thank you to Matthew behind the scenes for producing it. Thank you to Von Lane and IP Vanish for sponsoring it. Want to remind everybody, our game day coverage here on Texas Football on the channel. It's going to start Saturday at 7 a.m. with the Saturday Conversation. We got the tailgate show at 9 o'clock since it is an 11 o'clock kick. Everybody get your kegs and eggs and be ready to go. The Watch with us, myself, Aaron Hogan's hosting it. Jerry Hamilton will be involved. Coach Bob Shipley will be involved. Rod Babers gets involved with that. That starts at 11. And then immediately after the game, Bobby Burton and Rod Babers anchor our coverage of the postgame show. And want to thank the sponsors for our game day coverage here on the channel. That's Flight by Yingling, Von Lane, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's going to be a busy day with a top 20 showdown between Texas and Vanderbilt, and we'll get you started early, way before kickoff here on Texas Football. If you're not a member over at ontexasfootball.com, you can get over to the channel right now. Get over to the site right now. Sign up using the promo code OTFOG, and that'll get you 1 year of access at ontexasfootball.com for $39.95. Make sure that you like this video and that you're subscribed to the On Texas Football YouTube channel. That way, whether it's here on the channel or on the site, you're not missing any of our coverage before, during, and after every Texas game. For CJ, for Matthew, for the entire On Texas Football staff, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until next time, welcome.